All right, so for this episode, Justin Utton asks, have I ever gotten busted? Almost. Uh, this was the first time in New Jersey. That was Cedar Grove, Essex County, the Overbrook Asylum, psychiatric hospital. We went probably 3:30 in the morning. We arrived, waited for the sunrise rather, and started exploring, taking photos. At the time, I only had a smartphone. This is the very first, because it was such a high-profile place, I would snap and move the camera, so there was a lot of blur, a lot of things out of focus. And I didn't really have a clear subject when I took the photos, so as far as a photography standpoint, that visit, there was a lot to learn, and I'd say we were roughly midway through the day. It was about lunchtime, probably 11. So there were a series of underground tunnels connecting all the buildings. Maintenance would go through, and they would use that, and steam tunnels, water waste, whatever, electric cables, everything. So all those buildings were connected through this tunnel except for one building, and that was the rec building where the pool, I think there was a bowling alley, billiard room. I want to say there was two locker rooms. I think there was like a couple all-purpose rooms you could kind of do a couple different things in, and that was set back from the main campus of buildings, out in the open. So we leave the protection, the buildings connected by tunnels, and head in. We've got a lot of good photos rather, inside the rec building, and by this time we're relaxed. You get there, you're kind of on edge. Are we going to be seen? We'd had a good early morning explore. We were about halfway through. We're now talking, joking, whatever, and I think we probably spent 45 minutes to an hour at the rec building. We were going to leave the building, and there was an Essex County sheriff, like a Ford Ranger, and it was sitting there, it was idling, and I'd seen the head bob inside, like this cop was, whatever, paperwork. To this day, I'm not convinced at all that he knew we were there and he was trying to catch us. I'm convinced that we startled him. The guy I was with got out first. I got out. I spotted him. I said, fuck, run. We ran. And I remember those buildings being a lot closer on the way in than they were when we were heading to the rec building. We'd gotten to this open door, and the steps in the staircase were made of metal, and they had all rusted out. So we literally had to shimmy up the side, that portion of the stairway where the rails are embedded in. We had to shimmy up the side to get to the second floor. We wanted to get as much space between us and the sheriff deputy as we possibly could. Well, we get up to the second floor, we duck into a room, and by this time, Essex County, the windows are blown out. You could literally hear a pin drop. And all of a sudden, you can hear this footsteps of this guy. He's searching around well, you'd gone in May, so things were beginning to grow. Things were beginning to flourish, There was a lot of greenery, so he was rustling through that, making a fair bit of noise, actually. So it was clear, he was either looking for us or looking for a way in, or possibly both. The guy I was with knew this tunnels fairly well, and listed the options. We could go find a spot in the tunnels to hide, and there were a lot of, ante-rooms and things off to the side there. Find a spot to hide. We could stay where we were, do nothing, or we could leave. And think it was about 11:30, like I said, 11:30 at the time. So, let's leave, come back in an hour, grab something to eat. And fortunately, we're in New Jersey, so New Jersey's always got good bagels. And there was a bagel shop. Got a bagel breakfast sandwich kind of thing. It's huge. I mean, it was a nice bagel. Wolf that down, got a couple things to drink. I think we actually headed over to Preakness to see what Preakness, which was by that time was fully demolished. And then I think we came back, and the walk back from where we parked to where we got in, we were double checking, kind of see, were there more cars? Was the guy still there? The field where this guy had parked, everything was empty. So literally snuck back in, continued the rest of our day. We stayed literally 3:30 to maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish, and then with just that hour break in between there, to avoid being caught. Most other times I had crossed the fence. It was outside the fence when security or the police walked by or drove by. So for now, it's been almost, not an actual. Guy I explore with quite a bit, Shane, I think it was at Linfield, and he got probably $108 ticket for trespassing. I guess the place is under new ownership, and the new owner's now a dick, and so that's pretty much it. It's Linfield's a no-go. From what I gathered, there wasn't a whole lot to see. Maybe up on the roof, you'd see a couple of cool views, but, as far as machinery, artifacts, pretty much all that was spent, removed. I don't even think there was a rusting Hulk. So it doesn't really seem like a place that would really be on my radar. But yeah, that's how I almost got caught.